Hello, my name is Dr. Ridwan Fontaine. I teach Islamic management at IIUM, and today we will focus on the third part of Surah Al-Baqarah. So before I start, I want to dedicate this video and the series of video to Dr. Ismail Abu Sada. Dr. Ismail was my PhD student. He was Palestinian, and he was murdered in Gaza in early December 2023. Okay. Ironically, we are now starting to study the portion of Surah Al-Baqarah that talks about the children of Israel. So the first question is, why should we study this portion? There's a hadith in which the Prophet ﷺ said, "Surely you will follow the way of those nations who were before you in everything, as one arrow resembles another. So much so that if they were to enter a lizard hole, you will enter it." And the Sahaba said, "O Messenger of Allah, do you mean the Jews and the Christians?" And the Prophet ﷺ replied, "Yes, who else?" Okay, so the point is, when we study this portion of the Quran, it is not for us to criticize the children of Israel, it's for us to learn from their mistakes. And the section that talks about the children of Israel goes from ayat 40 to ayat 122. And Numan Ali Khan has divided that into some subsections, and each subsection has got a central ayah. So again, if you understand the central ayah, you understand the whole portion. So the first central ayah is ayat 74. And so I will read the English translation. "Then your hearts became hardened after that, being like stone or even harder. For indeed there are stones from which river burst forth, and there are some of them that split open and water comes out, and there are some of them that fell down for fear of Allah. And Allah is not unaware of what you do." Okay? So this is kind of a difficult metaphor to understand. So let me give you a little bit of background. In this section of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the behavior of Bani Israel. So they argued with the prophets, they didn't listen to their prophets, they were taking things for granted. There was the story of the calf, so they didn't want to slaughter the calf, and all of these things. And these are all behavior problems. But in this ayat, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us is that at the heart of everything, there's a spiritual problem. And the spiritual problem is their hearts are hard. So these three kinds of stones is really describing three kinds of hearts. The first type of heart is pure, and Iman flows out very, very, very quickly. And the person that kind of embodies that is Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. The second type of heart is the heart that is still quite pure, but it takes more time for Iman to come out. And the example is Omar bin Khattab. And the third heart is kind of the heart of the majority of Muslims, which is maybe the Iman is that not strong, but as we try to practice Islam, our Iman gets stronger and stronger and stronger until you can say there's Iman in that heart. Okay? So the point about the story of the Bani Israel is that they should be grateful for all the blessings that Allah gave them, in the same way that we should be grateful for all the blessings that Allah has given us. But instead of being grateful, they became ungrateful. So that's the first thing. At the heart of the problem that the Bani Israel faced was a problem of accountability. They had developed this idea that they were the chosen people. So as a chosen people, it didn't matter what kind of sins that they were doing. They basically said, well, never mind, we're Jewish, we're going to be forgiven anyway, right? And unfortunately, this mindset sometimes exists amongst Muslims where people say, well, okay, I make a lot of sins, but hey, I've said the Shahada, so I will be forgiven and I will enter paradise. Okay. Now, I look at this in a slightly different way. What fascinates me is there's all these behavior problems, which is very, very obvious and very easy to see. But what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is insisting is at the heart of the problem, there's a spiritual disease. And if you try to fix the behavior problem, but you don't address the spiritual disease, you're not actually dealing with the root cause of the problem. Okay, so that's kind of where I want to stop today. In the next session, we'll look at this section a little bit more detail, and then 2 or 3 sessions from now, we'll have kind of a conclusion which I think you will find very interesting. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.